In the early 1980s, Mattel was on a mission to find the next major hit for their boys brand. After Mattel passed on the Star Wars license, Kenner swooped in and began producing a very successful line of action figures based on the films. Hasbro was producing the increasingly popular G.I. Joe 3¾ toy line. With huge lines like this as their competition, Mattel needed something to stand out as unique and special. Something that would catch the attention of young boys and create a new global phenomenon. With the combined efforts of such talents as Roger Sweet and Mark Taylor, Mattel would introduce a new hero and a whole legion of amazing characters that would do just that. This new hero would come to be known as He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. After many conceptual sketches and designs, this sketch by Mark Taylor pretty much became the finalized design for He-Man. Of course, one of the biggest differences in this image is the inclusion of He-Man's helmet, which actually remained a part of the character's look all the way up to the 11th hour. Other than that, all of the important elements of He-Man are right here. An original resin cast prototype was then produced, sculpted by Tony Guerrero and painted by Roger Sweet. While that helmet is still present, we can see our new hero taking shape. Then in 1982, the He-Man that we now all know and love was finally released. He-Man came packaged with the mini-comic He-Man and the Power Sword. This first story tells us that He-Man was granted special armor and weapons from the goddess after leaving his tribe in the jungle. The armor granted He-Man a force field and superhuman strength, and he wielded the battle axe as his primary weapon. In this story, He-Man has his first encounter with Skeletor and Beastman, as Skeletor makes it his mission to unite the two halves of an ancient power sword that will grant him the power to open a portal to his home dimension and launch an attack on Eternia. This is quite a different story than what became the norm after the launch of the Filmation cartoon series a few years later. But in the beginning, this was the story of He-Man. The He-Man action figure is quite a bit different than anything released up until this time. While other popular figures of the time were on the 3¾ inch scale, He-Man was a mighty 5 inches tall. His proportions were also much larger for a more superhuman feel, with hulking muscles and battle-ready posed legs. The figure was massive in comparison to the hands of the kids who would be playing with him. He had this larger-than-life feel to him, perfect for smashing around as you battle Skeletor and his evil forces. He-Man featured a Power Punch action feature, which would actually become a common trend on many of the early figures in the Masters of the Universe toy line. The waist was spring-loaded, so by turning the figure's waist, He-Man would quickly snap back to mash Skeletor right in his bony face. The basic He-Man body, including the arms, legs, torso, and crotch piece, would be used throughout the life of the Masters of the Universe toy line. In what would become another staple for this line, He-Man's power harness was a removable accessory, so you could recreate the scenes from the included mini-comic, or live out your own adventures of Skeletor and his evil warriors stealing the powerful armor for themselves. The figure included 3 weapon accessories. There's a shield that can clip onto He-Man's arm, and a battle axe that He-Man is seen using as his main weapon in the included mini-comic. Then, of course, there's the Power Sword. Technically, half of the Power Sword, that is. The sword is designed in such a way that it can be combined with the purple half that is included with the Skeletor figure, to create the fully powered sword as seen in the mini-comic. Of course, this power sword would later become the iconic weapon for He-Man as well. Just as Mattel was hoping, this figure was the beginning of a new global phenomenon. He-Man would be officially released in dozens of countries in the Americas, Europe, Asia, and Australia from 1982 until the early 1990s. Mattel not only released him in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia, but also in Mexico as part of the Los Amos del Universo line, and France in the Les Matres del Universe line. Many additional companies officially released the same original He-Man figure, including Topps Toys in Argentina, Estrella in Brazil, Con Ghost in Spain, and Takara in Japan, and Leo Toys in India. The company had created an action figure that was exciting, unique, and most importantly, fun. The line grew rapidly, introducing many new villains for He-Man to do battle with, and friends to aid him in his never-ending war on evil. He-Man would become a hero to kids everywhere, and Masters of the Universe would go on to become one of the most beloved action figure lines of all time. Until next time.